Welcome to part 2 of creating a project management app in Power Apps. You can watch part 1 here if you haven't watched it. Let's try to create a page where we can create new projects for our project tracker application. So let's start by creating a create button that will navigate us to the page where we'll create the actual project. So let's insert a container. So we have our container that will hold the actual button. So let's give this a green full color. And inside this container, let's add this icon. Center it. And let's give this one another color. Like this. Let's create the screen where we will fill out the project details or create the actual project. And on this screen, I would like to have a header like this. And let's give it another title. Create new project. And I would like to hide this. On the front page, let's find the icon again. We just inserted and find the unselect property and choose navigate. Create projects like this. Okay, great. Let's try to insert our form that will enable us to create the actual project. So for that, I will place a container on the screen to hold the form. And inside the container, I'll place the actual project form. So let's try to do that. We have the container. Let's insert the form. We have to choose the project tracker. And I only need the title, status, and project description. I don't need the attachment for this particular case. So I will go to edit field and remove attachment. And then the title, status, and project description is fine. So the order is fine. And I'll switch to 2 columns. And then make this one a bit wider. And change the description box to multi-line. And make the height 140. Let's say 160. Beautiful. And then let's rename this to form, FRM for form, and then create new project. We have to change the form mode also, because right now it's per default an edit form, and this we know needs to be a new form. So go to the form and then go to default mode and then switch this one to new. Perfect. And then let's create 2 buttons for saving and canceling. So I'll create one here and Control C or Command C, Control V, depending on your desktop device. And then this one would be save. This one needs to be cancel. Right, let's change the fill colors to green on this one. Then this one should be, let's make it red. Okay, so if we press this button, we would like to go back to the main screen and reset our form. So on the unselect property of this one, we would like to reset the form, create new project, and navigate to home. Great. And this one, when we save, we would like to submit our form. So in order to do that, we will use the submit form function and submit this one. And then we would like to reset our form afterwards, and then navigate to create project. Oh, not create project, to our home screen. So let's see it in action. If I press this icon, we'll go to the screen and we can create a title. We have our statuses and write a description. Let's save it. So we have the new project name, Hi. What could be awesome would be to have some kind of success message. So let's give the user a success message when they save. So on this button, go to the top here and start typing notify and write your message. All right, let's test it. So project 4, let's leave it to do some text. All right, so we have success, new project is created. Great. Let's turn this one to a green color instead. So we can do that by tapping into the function and then choose notification type.success. That's it. Let's cancel this one. That was the functionality of creating new projects. The next thing we are going to do is to create the actual project edit page. So a page where we can edit details about the project. On this page, we should also be able to add tasks and edit tasks as well. So first, let's insert a edit icon, sort of as an icon to navigate us to the specific project we've chosen. So to do that, select our gallery and the template, and then insert a edit icon. Let's make it a bit smaller. So when we press this one, we should navigate to a new screen. Let's create that screen. Blank, and let's call the screen edit project details. So from this screen, on this icon, pen icon or edit icon, we should say that it should navigate to edit project details, like that. So when we press this one, it navigates us to the new page. On this page, let's just insert the common header that I have on all the other pages. Okay, cool. Let's go back again and then select this project. And we are navigating to edit project details. Great. On this page, let's insert a container. And this container should hold our edit form that will allow us to edit our project details about the specific project we have chosen. So I'll just insert an edit form in this container. And I'll connect it to my project trigger list. And in our case, we don't need to have the attachment, so I will remove that for this particular demo. So I'll just keep the title, status, and project description. And then I will change the column setup to 2 columns to make a bit more space for everything. And the project description, I'll of course make a bit larger, or I will make it a bit wider. And inside this project description, I choose the text box, so to speak, and change it to multi-line, and then increase the height. Great. I have styled the form a bit. So now we have the title, status, and project description. So now we need to connect the form with the item we have selected on the first page. So the simple way of doing that is to go to or select our form and then go to our item and then say the projects that basically just select it. And now you can already see that we have our values from that specific selected projects. So that was our first step to enable us to edit a project. So now we have the values. Now we just need a button to save the actual values. So let's try to implement a button for that. So insert a button. Let's change the text to save. And let's make the color a green one. So on this button, when we choose unselect, we want to do something. But beforehand, let's just change the name of our form so it's easier for us to identify it later. So I'll change this to form, F-R-M for form, and then edit project like that. So when we press this button on the unselect property, then use this function called submit form and then edit project. Normally, when we have done such a thing as submit a form, it would be nice to navigate back to the main screen. We can achieve that in several ways. So either just do a navigate back when the submit form function has finished, but we can actually also do this automatically if we go into our form edit project. This one has a onSuccess property, meaning that if we saved our project successfully, then it will execute this one. So we can actually choose navigate to home on this one. Thereby, you know, if it does navigate home, it is because we have an error. That's sort of a thing you can play with in order to optimize your user experience throughout the app. So let's try to see if this works. So I will switch these stages to in progress, maybe add some text. And let's save this one. So it changed the value back. So we have already in progress. And if we view this one, it doesn't have any task on this one. So let's try to just, for testing, go into this one and say, hey, for, and hit save. And you can see it changed our project name. And if we go into this one, it has also changed the value. That was the edit project functionality. I think the next step is to add a feature that will enable us to add task or create task for a specific project. So let's try to do that. So I will simply go to a random project. And on this screen, I will create a button and make that button say new task. So the idea is when I press this one, it will open up a window where we can create or fill out details about the task I would like to create for this project. So to do that, I will first off insert a container. And this container will sort of be an overlay. And I will rename this one to create new task. And let's change the background or the fill so it will separate the container from the actual project screen. So it gives us this feeling that a new window has popped up. So inside this one, I would like to have a edit form. And I need to connect that one to our task list. So I think our form should have a background. So, or a background fill. So I'll provide a color for this one. Okay. And then let's clean this one up. We don't need the attachment for this specific demo, so I will remove that. All right. So we have cleaned up the form with the columns. So there's a few things we need to do. Firstly, I've renamed the form just to make it easier for us in the future to reference this one. And as you can see here, it says no item to display, and that's due to the default mode of the form currently. That is an edit form. So let's create that, or let's change that. So on this button, we should implement something. But before we can do that, let's just add a feature that will enable us to close down this sort of small container. So I'll just add a small button to this container. Be sure to stay inside this one. So I'll create a button and I will move it here. Let's just say cancel. Let's make it red instead. We can also go to the properties and select color. Let's choose this one. So when we select this button, we should update a variable that will enable us to hide our create new task container. So to do that, I will just use the update context function and say LOC, and let's say create new task visible. Let's set that to false. And let's implement this context variable on this container. Where do we have it? It's divisible. And then on this new task, on select, we should set our variable, which is created, to true. So it will show our container, and this one will hide it. So now we can actually choose our form mode with this button. So let's try to do that. We'll do that by simply typing new form, and that should be form task, like that. So when I do this, it is a new form. That's great. And at the same time, let's reset our form if we press on the cancel button. So we can use the reset form function and reset this one. Now we need to link the task to the project automatically so the user don't have to do it. So let's create that connection between the project and task. So to do that, I will step inside this project name, which is the lookup column to our project. I'll step inside the drop down. So in my case, data card value 6. Now we'll go to the default selected items. And inside this one, I would like to create sort of the record. I need to specify a record for that particular one project name. So to do that, I will start with the curly brackets and then specify ID for that specific project. And I can find the ID by choosing the gal project.selected .id. Then I need to create sort of the value also as the second column in this record. And the value would be the gallery projects dot selected dot name. And there you go. You can see it has placed our project 3 in this column. So let's adjust the layout a bit. So let's just have all of this inside one column. Maybe we should do it like this and choose one column. And let's choose to have the project name in the top. The tile there is fine. And then the task description, let's make that one a multi-line text field. And let's adjust the height a bit to, let's do it like this, and maybe even more, like 180. Okay, great. So let's sort of hide or disable this field for our users because they shouldn't be allowed to change the project name. At least in this case, I would like to have it that way. So to do that, I will select the data card and then choose display mode and then remove this part and just write display mode that disabled. And that will hinder our users choosing another project for this specific task, but it allows us to see that our functionality is working as expected. I would like to change the naming of this one, so I will just unlock the properties and I will call this one task name, like that. So in general, these naming follows the column names you have chosen in SharePoint. My recommendation is to get this right beforehand so that your columns in here matches the column names in SharePoint. That's just easier to maintain So let's create a button that will create this task for us. So select your container and then insert the button, and let's place it in the right hand corner, and let's set the text to create. And let's make this another color like this. And I think that is it for the layout. And then on the onSelect property for our button, we should submit our form, and it should be the task form. And after we had done that, let's reset our form. That's the task form. And lastly, let's update the context. So let's hide the container where we create the new task. So update container and choose this variable, set this one to false, close it like that. So let's try to test what we've created so far. So it should enable us to create a new task for this project or projects in general. So I'll go into the preview app mode, and I'll just step back to make sure that we have selected an actual project here. So I'll choose project 3. Inside project 3, let's choose a new task, and let's give this one a name. Let's choose the to-do status, and let's give it a small description. All right, let's try to see what this does for us. So it actually closed the form down, and let's check if we succeeded with submitting our task. So let's go back into SharePoint, and then right now we're in the projects list. Let's go to the site content and find our project task list. And let's update this one. And here it is. So for some reason, it didn't create the lookup for our task. So let's investigate that. So I think that the error has something to do with the format we are choosing in our drop-down menu for the project name. So I'll just take you through some tools you can use to sort of investigate this problem. Let's try to create a new task and just fill out some of these properties. But before I actually create, let's just go back and open the monitor session, or open a monitor session. So you can find that monitor tool in your left navigation over here at this point in time, and then choose open monitor. This monitor will enable you to see what's going on inside your app. I'll just create a few more details, and I'll press create. So inside our monitor tool, we have a patch request created, and we can see the format we are sending to our SharePoint site, or the actual row we are patching. So here you can see the new record, project name, ID, etc. And to find out what's going on, let's try to compare it with how the lookup column was originally designed. So if we switch this one back to edit mode, and we choose another one, so that will choose the specific values that we have in the items property. So it might be different from what I have created. Just fill out the properties here, task description, and press create. So let's try to go into the monitor tool. So now we have created 2 records to patch operations. So this was the first one with the thing I've created, and we can see how it's structured here. And if we go to this one, which is the default form setup, you can actually see it's a bit different from what I've created. And the main thing I'm noticing here is the actual ID value. You can see it's lowercase here, the I. It's not capitalized, and here it's a capital I. So let's try to fix that. So I'll close down the monitor tool, and I'll go back in here and open this one. And I will change this one back to disable. And inside the dropdown, I'll just switch back so you can see the value. Inside the dropdown and the default selected items, I will just change this one to a capital I. And now it's going to be interesting to see if this is working. So we'll close it down, create a new task, and fill out the properties here, and create. And let's see if it's appearing on the side. Let's wait a few more. There we have it, and we have created the lookup column. Everything is great. So that was the small error, it's just the I. I think one last thing that could be cool to add is, let's say that we saved this one successfully. I would like to inform the user that a new task has been created. So I can go into the form, choose the unsuccess, and in this one you can write the notify function and provide a text. The reason why I'm writing updated is due to the fact that we are going to use the same form to edit our tasks. And let's give them a notification type, success. Let's test this fine little feature out. Task has been created or updated. So that's nice for the user to know. Let's implement a feature that will give us an overview of the current tasks for this particular project that we have chosen. Let's insert a small container again. And inside this container, I would like to have a gallery of tasks. So insert a blank gallery and choose the project task list. And right now we don't have any items in this list, so we'll create that. Let's adjust the gallery a bit. So I'll just make some adjustment to the template and insert some text labels to hold the text values for our properties for the task. So let's do that quickly. So I inserted some text labels. So the title for the task, and then the status for the task. And then I inserted this small edit icon that will help us activate the edit form for this particular task when we press it. But before we implement that, as you can see, we have all of the tasks. So we need to do some filtering on task, so we get the tasks for a particular project. And we can use the logic we have on our details page to do that. So if you go into the detail page and look up the logic on this particular gallery, we have this filter, and we can actually just utilize that. So just do a Control-C on Windows or Command-C on Mac. We'll copy that and go into edit mode again. Then go to this page and then select our gallery and choose the items property, and then paste the filter function. So there you go. You can see that we have filtered out our task for this specific project. Next up, we are going to activate our edit form when we press on this icon. So to do that, let's do an update context, and we'll use this create new task variable, set that to true. So I know this one indicates create new task, but we will utilize the same form. So you might change the name to make it more meaningful. Anyways, I'll just keep this and you can change that, but just remember to change it all the places then that you need to change it. All right, so when we press this one, we will go into this small form. And as you can see, we have some problems with the layout. So let's just fix that first. We have all of these small things showing up, and that's due to the layout of our items over here. So this create new task, I will move this one to the front. So reorder, bring to front like that. There you go. So now it's showing up the form and resetting the form. So how do we make this particular item visible on the form or the edit form? To do that, we can go into our form, and on the form tasks, we can have the data source. That's correct. And then let's go to our item. And then the item needs to be the one we have selected down here. So we actually need to correct something, a minor thing. So this one, let's just select parent. And then on this one, our specific template, we can do a unselect and then paste in this one. So like that. We'll go into this one. And then on this form, on the item property, we can say gallery 1.selected. I'll just rename this one to make it more clear what this gallery is showing us. So that's the task, gallery task for project. So this one on the item should be gal task for project dot selected dot nothing more. So there you have it. So as you can see now, we have our information about our task we have selected. So if I close down this one and select this one, you can see that's the other task we have. And if we press a new task, it will show up as new tasks. All right. Let's see what happens if we submit our form. So let's do a small change to our task name just to test it out. Let's go one more time. All right. Let's see if it wasn't this task, it was this task. And as you can see, it has updated the text. So that's awesome. That means it works. One thing that could be really nice from a user perspective was, or is, to get this one updated. So if we are in edit mode, it should say save. And if we are like in this mode, new task, it should say create. So let's try to reflect that. So I'll go here and let's go to the button and the text property. It says create. So let's do an if statement and say if the form mode of the task so what we're going to write here in the function is if the form.mode, so the mode of this form is equal to form mode.edit, it should say save. Otherwise, it should say create. So let's check if this one works. So let's cancel this one, press new task. It says create. And if we take another one, it says save. So that's exactly what we wanted. So let's update this one. It updated. Beautiful. Lovely. So everything seems to work as we want it to work. It's a simple project tracker app. We still have some functionality we could, or features we could implement. So let's say, for example, on the display page, we could also have a box displaying the description of the project to give us an overview. Now it's only the task description, so to speak, on the right side. We could also implement a progress bar. Yeah, there's some other stuff we could also choose to implement, but let's just keep it simple for now. I hope you learned something new and got inspired. If you would like more content like this, please like and subscribe. And until next time, stay awesome and build awesome apps.